Hello, everyone. I am Janis, and I am a developer here, but the topic is not about development. And also, I am the last thing standing between you and the after party. So let's make it worth our while. And the topic came to me during the last community days when there were a lot of talks about how to do things, instructions, or what to do when you need something, and these success stories from our customers or partners. But what I wanted to hear about was maybe someone could do some basic exploration of what it is that the reports actually do, and why do they do that? Kind of like a warm-up for people that do sports. And the better you are, maybe you should pay more attention to the warm-up. So when Ilse asked me, are you open to give a talk next year? I foolishly said yes. So here we are. And how do we start this? Stafford Beer was he was a professor and a consultant in the UK during the last century, and he coined this phrase in context of systems analysis, that you could argue what the system should do, but at the basic level, the purpose of a system is what it does. And I think it can also be applied to reports. The purpose of a report is what it does. And what does that mean? Well, maybe hard to do right now at the end of the day, but imagine you are in a meeting and the analyst has come and he has prepared a dashboard. He has 10 reports. He has selected his 10 drop-down filters. He has added all the measures you need for context, because more context helps you understand things. And he is explaining things and everybody is nodding along, then they get it. But what do you see? And you don't get it. And who is correct here? How can it be that, well, this was not his intent, right? He didn't want you to do this. He wanted for you to see things. But, well, unfortunately, this is what his reports communicate. And if we go back to the previous slide, well, it turns out that is the purpose of these reports, to look like this, because this is what they do. And how can the purpose and the intent be so different? And because of the choices that go into making a report or a dashboard or anything. And let's see what goes into that. eazyBI, well, you're using eazyBI, and that means you do not have to draw your charts with your hands. And that makes your job a lot simpler. But that does not excuse you from responsibility, and you still have to make decisions about the reports you have made. And those are your choices. And yes, the choices that eazyBI makes for you are your implicit choices. And that's how it is so simple, because you don't have to think about it. eazyBI thinks for you. Yes, so let's go over a few things eazyBI does for you. And what is the default choice? Something simple, a color. Well, you don't need to do anything to get colors in eazyBI. You click on the bar chart and it's colored. You click on the line chart, lines are colored. And well, you can also, eazyBI gives you choices. If you want some different colors, you get a color picker. Those are colors picked by our designers, handcrafted here in Latvia. And you can choose from them. You can also get some default choices from your sample reports or our demo account in cloud. And let's look at the colors in the demo account. This is, I looked at the colors in the Jira demo account on cloud and how often they were used. As you can see, well, the green is the most popular, followed by blue and red. Those are choices that were not made by you. Those are choices that were made by someone else. And how does that compare to what people are actually using? Well, we can also look at that because we can get the data. This is what is in the Jira demo account. This is the distribution on the cloud. The demo account has more teal. People on the cloud use less teal, a bit more custom colors. Well, that's good. Your people are making their own choices. And I want to show you an example when the default choice can be not enough. This is a real report with real data. It's top-selling add-ons on Jira Cloud over time from 2022 to 2025 when the Atlassian changed the endpoint, and I was not bothered to look for the new one. And it is hard to follow. It is the default. You choose the line chart, and this is how it's colored. And if you're presenting in person, well, you can put your mouse cursor over the line and say, well, look at this, and that line gets big, and the other lines get small, and you can understand something. You can point to the other one, and, well, you can also look at that one. But you can also choose to export this in a PDF. And what happens then? You don't get any mouse over functionality. So if I receive this file in a PDF, well, what do I see? Well, what was the purpose of this report? Was the intent to just, well, you slap the export button and send it, and then you go home, and that's done? Or maybe, was the intent for me to understand this? Because if I open it, I can see the tiny letters. Well, this is not meant to be understood. Well, how can we work around it if we still want this to be understood by people looking at it from the PDF? Well, remember that one, gray is also a color, and two, there is no rule against reusing colors in a chart. And well, you can also receive this one in a PDF. Well, now you can see what the intent was, that I want you to look at this line. This is the important one. And those other ones, those are in the background. Those are not the focus right now. So this is a case when you need to make your own choices because the default one was not good enough. Which also leads us into another comparison. Exploration and persuasion, these are modes of data analysis. You are exploring when you open the Analyze tab, press New, and drag around your dimensions, select, remove, drill down. You are looking for the signal in the sea of data. And when you find it, well, then you switch to persuasion. You try to present it to people like, this is what I found. This is what I want you to look at. And well, it says eazyBI. The BI means business intelligence, and that means exploration by default. This is, you are looking for something. So it is sometimes hard to get away from that. How does it look visually? Well, what is on your screen? What takes up your screen real estate? This, in the red, that is part of the process of finding things. And that tiny part at the bottom, that's the result. And here we can see, well, we are mostly about the process here. And you click on the measures and expand it, and that's like 80% of your screen is for the process and a little bit for the result, which is good enough for you during the work. You're looking, you can see it. Because, well, process and the answer, and can we get away from that? Because this is the export to PDF. Is this really a part of the result? Should it be there? And well, your default mode of work is you make a flexible report and you add those filters, and then you go, well, your project gets a copy, your project gets a copy, your project gets a copy. And it's all easy and fine, and you just select your project from the drop-down and you will get what you need. But, well, I'm a lazy person. Well, why should I switch it? And you're the analyst. Well, isn't it your job to switch it? Why is there a box that says all fixed versions? Why do I need that here in this view? And the feeling here is like you were doing some renovations, you're painting the walls a new color, and you finish, and you move the furniture back in the room, and you go in there and you say, well, it's finished. You can live here. But why is there still a paint bucket standing in the middle of the room? Well, it's fine. Just live here. And yes, this is more like an echo of what you were doing. You added this filter, you tried different selections, well, nothing stands out, revert it to all member, leave it in place for later usage. But maybe the people don't need it. And if you leave it, the report looks less final. It looks like there's still some work going on. There's still a paint bucket there. Well, for how to present your final findings, you may have read, this is the gold standard on how to present your findings, your final findings. So people that do data visualization, who has read any of these? Who has heard of these? Okay, congratulations. You should tell more people about it. Now, what if you don't want to present your final information? Like, you're not really sure what the data means. Or maybe you know what it means, but well, I don't really want to be responsible for these findings. You can do the opposite of what this says. Well, the Tufte is more concerned about ink to data ratio. Like, there should be less ink and more data. As much data with as little ink as possible. And you can do the opposite. Like, you can pull up to the meeting with 5 tabs of these instead of a dashboard. That is a decision you can make. Like, boss, we are really overwhelmed here with the data analysis. Maybe we should hire another data analyst. Or, well, we're not sure what this data means. There's still ongoing work. Look at all these paint buckets around me. And yes, another choices you can make is you can present your data in a neutral way, or you can introduce some bias. I'd like to think that any data analysis tool is neutral by default. It's just your data presented. Like, you can put it in a table, you can draw it in a chart, which are usually normal, present data as it is. But you can introduce a bias. Well, these are usually what are called chart crimes. At the basic level, y-axis manipulation. Like, you see where this starts. And depending on your y-axis, which you can cut off, which eazyBI also allows you to do, because it is useful. And the answer to why people keep doing this is because it works. And your data literacy can mitigate a little bit, but not entirely. So if you know what this is trying to do, and in some way it is successful because, well, you see that there is an increase, because if it was just a big chart, the increase at the very top is not noticeable. The AI companies are also very fond of this. Like when the new model comes out, the previous model is at the very bottom. You cut the y-axis like razor thin. There is also another way to create bias, but in this case, it works a little differently. The research is like, you look at this chart, and they ask people a question, well, who do you think will win the student elections in year 4? And this is the last year's data. Well, you can see, well, green is increasing, but blue is on top every year. Now, this is specifically designed to be ambiguous. You can't really tell. Well, one is growing, but the other is kind of also growing, and you can add a caption. And blue has won for the past 3 years. And people say, well, yeah, the report is fine, but you are a bit biased. And this is their opinion of you and not of the data, because it doesn't really change their evaluation of the data. Or you can put a completely biased title and say, well, green will surely win this year. And people still evaluate the data the same way, but they say, well, yeah, I see that you are really biased. So something to keep in mind when adding descriptive titles. Like, do you wish to come across as biased? If it's not completely neutral, then make a decision about that. Another way you can make choices is you can report on real data or calculated data. And we all know calculated members, measures. You all write MDX. You're very good at that. And let's look at some very basic report. Now, I think everyone can understand what this is. This is SLA report. And as we see, the team's performance is pretty depressing. And well, you think, well, this chart basically shows all there is to know about the team. And if your goal is to know about the team, then this is where you stay. But you are their team lead. And well, you can look in their eyes and see that they are dead inside because they have no idea what success looks like. And if you just could give them a bit of dopamine so they keep coming to work, well, maybe that would lead somewhere. And there is an industry, a pretty big one, that has done a lot of research on how to give people dopamine so they keep showing up. Because did you know that the slot machines, when you almost hit the jackpot, they play a sound that is almost like the jackpot sound? Or when you do sports betting and you lose very narrowly your bet. They will surely make you know that, hey, you were really, really close. And people go like, yes, I almost did it. And the brain works in a way that's basically the same reward as actually doing it. But you just keep spending money. Now, how do we motivate the team? Well, with a bit of creative, calculated members, you can introduce a measure called almost compliant. You see, team, we did it. We should just keep on working because we are fully almost compliant. And what do you know? People may keep showing up. Now, some of you may have a question, or should have a question. Isn't this just manipulation? Isn't this wrong, or is it even legal? And I want to turn this into a bit of a story. Well, I have kids, and when they were small, they would come to me and say, well, Dad, look, I made a drawing. And you look at the drawing, and it's a kid's drawing. It's bad. And then you say, wow, thank you. This is really nice. And what is the lesson to be learned there? Well, one that it can be manipulation or it can be just thoughtful communication. That's one lesson. The other lesson is that I am not your dad. And we are all grown-ups here, and you are responsible for your own decisions. So if you do decide to be creative with calculated members, then those are your calculated members. And in what context are you doing it? Well, is it your team? Well, team, congratulations, we almost did it. Or, well, that's your team, that's up to you and them. Well, or if your boss asks, well, can you recolor this to be almost the same color before we include this in the shareholder report this quarter? Well, then I am not your dad, and I am also not your lawyer. But be careful. Now, you can also judge reports on what's in them, and if you know the reports, you can also judge them on what is not in them. Now, what does that mean? These reports, the lines are all the same, and on the top, they are almost the same. Is it visible? Well, this one includes an unused member, all assignees. And as an employee in a corporation, these two reports with the same data can give a very different vibe. Because if you show one report to one person and the other to another, and one later says, well, I know what the team is doing, this is a team effort. And the other says, well, I know what I measured on, and I will make sure to grab a lot of issues, small ones, to resolve next time. Can you map it back to who of them saw which report? Well, I think you can. There's also, you can look at, well, this is Project Demo Alpha. What can I tell about that? Well, I am a developer. I work for the Project Alpha. This is my only project. You're a manager. You work on many projects. You are more important than me. Or maybe I know that you are a manager and you only work on Project Alpha. Then, well, what are you doing there? Who are you trying to impress? This is also something you can tell about the report from what is not really there. And you can go on, like you watch 5 seasons of Sherlock and write a whole presentation about that. Now, what do we do with all of that? So you can see that you can, and maybe you should put your thoughts to what do you want your reports to do? And you should also think about the people that are looking at them. What is the purpose? What do they actually do for the people that use them? And yes, remember that we are all human here, and a little empathy goes a long way. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? No questions then. Thanks a lot. Oh, there is a question. Yes. Now ready?
I have a question about the charts. In the very beginning of the presentation, there were some chart types which I haven't seen. And are those real charts or just some screenshots or pictures? Like these, yes, this one.
This is a real screenshot from a real eazyBI. But as you see, this is running inside the Jira data center. And if you read the eazyBI documentation, there is a section on chart customizations, which says that you can put some templates, some files in the Jira home, and if you restart eazyBI, it will pick it up, and if there's new chart types there, it will have them.
Thank you.
That's on cloud.
Some more questions? Yes, here you go.
Yeah, hi. This presentation is a fresh breath, honestly. You touch upon this human side of working with data, and this really puts on more questions than answers, I guess. So if we perceive working with data as something objective, you show the gold standard of visualization, and we want it to be objective because that's, the whole thing behind the data. How can we construct the report so that we can avoid the objectivity, the subjectivity and all that, so that the interpretation overrides the actual purpose of the report? Because, I work in marketing, and that's what I'm fighting with, like every single day. People judge based on their own beliefs and not on what the data shows us. Well, the marketing people not, so. Yeah, so what's your take on this?
It is a long journey, and well, on the day-to-day basis, you can talk to people. If you present in person, you can talk to them about what they saw. Also, it is a really big and hard topic in general, because you can get a PhD in cross-cultural communication. So you can start and you can go very far and not reach the end. I cannot give you a full answer here.
Thanks. Any more questions? No. Then thank you very much for your presentation.